of this grand medical extravaganza, MedInfinite 2020. MedInfinite 2020 is an online medical conference conducted by IMA MSN and JDN Tamil Nadu for medical students and doctors from July 16th to September 15th. Myself, Mrinalini Devi, and my co-moderator Kiran will take immense pleasure in welcoming you all. Many of us have dreamt of studying and working abroad while we were small kids. But how exactly are we aware of the overseas opportunities for an Indian medical graduate? Today, we have here 4 privileged speakers with us, taking us a step closer to achieving that dream. I'd like to start off by welcoming our speakers, Dr. R. Rajamahendran Sir, MS, MRCS, MCH, Surgical Gastroenterology, FMES, a teaching faculty at Government Pilgrim Medical College and Hospital, author and co-author of many books, an active member of the IMA, and director-founder of Concept PG Coaching Center. Yes, sir. Dr. Tushar Vinod Deras, chairman and managing director of Ashut Academy, a prestigious education excellence award winner in both houses of the Parliament of the UK Parliament in London, and a champion of change award received by the Honorable Vice President Sri Venkatesha Naidu. Sir, we welcome you, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
And we have Dr. Thiruvayam Elumalai, Fellowship in Neurology at Christie NHS Trust, Manchester, UK. We welcome you, sir.
Yep.
And Dr. Ocean Bell, posting scholar at University Clinic Dersen, Dr. Med candidate, founder of Journey to Germany, and 3 times International Research Award winner. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I guess we can get started with this panel discussion. We're going to be discussing about the various overseas opportunities that are available for the Indian medical graduate after we finish MBBS. I think it would be appropriate if we started off with our motherland. I request Dr. Rajamahendran sir to say a few words about getting a PG in India after MBBS.
Shall I share my screen?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yes. So, good evening to all. So, this is actually a overseas opportunities talk. So, I'm going to give a brief outline about the various opportunities available in India at present. So most of the guys who are coming here are definitely going to see only the overseas opportunities. But let me give an overview of what is happening in India first. So I'm Dr. Rajamahendran, a founder and director of Concept Coaching Center. So coming to PG in India, how easy is it? And what are the various exams and what is the scope of various specialties? So first of all, you should understand the total number of PG seats. The total number of PG seats are 19,953 for MD and 10,821 for MS and around 2,000 PG diploma seats and 1,338 DNB common entrance test is available. So these are the seats available. And if you know how many of them have wrote this, how many of them have wrote the exam, if you see, this is the number of people those who have written the exam. I'm going to show you now. So the various institutes which are covered under a single exam, now there are so many exams when we are preparing. Now there is only one exam, NEET PG, and most of these, all these seats are covered only by one exam, that is NEET PG 2020, which conducted last January. So which is not covered under NEET are AIIMS exam, PGI, JIPMER, NIMANS. These are all not covered under NEET, though they have very less number of seats. So there are totally 6,102 colleges and 649 hospitals. And to know the number of candidates appear, please remember it is around 1.5 lakh students appeared totally last year. And of the 1.5 lakh, we have around active seat of around 29,000 to 30,000. So the actual targeted seat is masters. Most of them target only master degree. And those who didn't get a master degree, they go for a diploma. So the main target is towards clinical seat nowadays, because as you all know very well, the non-clinical seats are not available nowadays. Non-clinical job vacancy is not available in many places. So people try to get MDMS clinical side most preferably. So, and this is easily got by appearing for an exam, which is having a 300 questions with 3.5 hours online exam. And if you see that AIIMS is also conducting a separate exam, usually first preference is many students having a preference for AIIMS, and usually the number of seats here is very less. So the number of seats is only totally around 657 seats in AIIMS, but people are joining this AIIMS with the full interest. They have a special craze towards AIIMS, and this is also an online exam. So now about the NEET PG seats. So how many years the students are naturally taking for getting seat is naturally nowadays students are taking 1 to 2 years to get a seat. So it takes around 1 to 2 years to get a PG seat. So definitely those who are all preparing, they are going to get a seat. They're not going to go without a seat, empty-handed. Definitely they are going to get a seat. The college may differ, or sometimes they may go for a payment college or a deemed university. That's all. But nobody has gone without a PG seat. Those who have come for this entrance preparation. Okay. So, and after NEET PG, now there is a compulsion towards super specialty. No way, because there is a high super saturation of PG degrees. For example, in a small town, in a small town I'm living, there are around 20 MD general medicine people here and around 25 MS general surgery people here. So, but when you come to super specialty, I'm the only surgical gastro available, and there is only one surgical onco available and only one vascular surgeon available. So super specialty has become a mandatory. And if you see the salary difference between the PG degree holder and a super specialty degree holder is enormous difference. So for a PG degree holder, they are getting up to 1 lakh in even private sectors, but a super specialty person is getting from 2 lakhs to 3 lakhs in corporate hospitals and around 2 lakh in medical colleges. So it has become a mandatory, and students started preparing for super specialty naturally now. So it's a natural course. Nobody stops with the PG nowadays. And what are the other options? If you see, the other options are government service. Many students are not at all interested in government service nowadays. As you all know, there are so many problems in the government service, so many stress, the public creating nuisance in the government service. And definitely the salary is very less, especially in Tamil Nadu. We get a salary of only 70 to 80,000 in the beginning. So nobody is interested in government service. The only reason why people were joining government service in those days were to get a PG seat. So PG seat was easy in those days. By getting into a government service, they get a service quota. But now what has happened is there is no service quota, and only few PHCs are given service mark. So nowadays the craze for government service into the state has gone very low, and still some people are preparing for UPSC exam, and this is a tough job. Again, they have a good salary, but for eligible as a PG, you have to wait for 5 years. By the time you reach 30 plus, and most of them are not interested in joining this UPSC also. So now the present option is the only best option nowadays in governments in Tamil Nadu as well as in all over the countries, to go for a NEET PG and get a crack a seat. So only by cracking a NEET PG and a NEET super specialty, the students are getting settled here. And I'm seeing it takes around, at least it takes around 10 years. So by the time you finish MBBS by around 23 to 24 years, and it will take around 10 years to get settled. I settled myself at around the age of 35. I started my practice only at the age of 35, and I am earning now around 3 to 4 lakhs in sitting in my small town. So definitely this will take 10 years. So you cannot search for any shortcut in India. So this is the only option, and you have to complete a super specialty for earning opportunity. So this is a discussion regarding the opportunities of earning. So this is not about the fees or other things. So I'm not discussing about other things. If you really want to earn, you have to finish a good PG and a good super specialty and settle in a good place. These are the most important things. And you must have your goal very strong goal you should have. And if your goals don't scare you, they are not big enough. That is my thing. Because when I am preparing for my MBBS itself, I had a goal to get an MCH, and I wanted to have a small nursing home. But at that time, I was from a middle class, and I was really having a big scare at that time. But it took around 10 years for me to now have my MCH degree and have my own hospital, and everything. It took around 10 years, but we have to wait.
Hello, sir. Dr. Rajamahendran, sir. I believe we have lost a connection, sir.
Yeah, voice is not coming.
But I believe sir was almost done with the speech. Yeah, I think we can go on with our next speaker while we wait for sir to come in. But it was a wonderful talk, sir. It was everything we needed to know as an Indian, being in India, what we need to do to continue our dream here in India. But now I request Dr. Tushar Vinod, dearest sir, to say a few words about obtaining PG in US after MBBS.
Yeah, just I'll make the full screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your screen is visible,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. So good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Tushar Devras, and I'm really thankful for giving me opportunity to talk about the great country, United States of America. Astute Academy, basically, we are a US-based academy, so we have a medical center in Philadelphia, which is near New York in Pennsylvania state. And we have our own affiliated residency hospitals. So we ourselves admit the postgraduate students. So we know the in and outs of the admission process as regards the post-graduation, because there is a lot of myths which I'm going to clear today as regards the USA, the admissions part of it. We have been an independent career counselor, so we do not have any tie-ups with any of the colleges or any of the things. And that is why we have got many awards also. Vice President had given the award, even Rajnath Singh ji, the London both houses of parliament. And the Dean of Columbia University, which is Ivy League, which is the 4th rank in the world, Dr. Donald Martin heads the division. So you may be knowing the medical post-graduation in United States. There are two programs, because most of the students are aware only about the residency program. There are two programs, medical post-graduation, where you can go to the United States and settle down. First is the physician assistant program. It is the name of the degree. It doesn't mean you are an assistant to the doctor. And second is the flagship program of residency, with most of the persons are aware about this program. Physician assistant is a straight 2 years program. So you go to the United States, there are 150 US universities which takes the Indian students. So the 150 universities are there. You straight go to the universities. There is no requirement for USMLE. There is a misconception. If you have to go to the United States, you have to clear the USMLE exam. Then only you can practice in United States or practice as a doctor in United States. It is only required for the residency program. So physician assistants is 2 years program straight, where you take a GRE and TOEFL every year in the month of March. This is there. And this is a very, very prestigious program. In fact, you can settle down whole your life in United States with the physician assistant program. No USMLE examination is required. Starting salary is close to $125,000 to $150,000 a year. It is one of the huge salaries. Definitely residency salaries are more than this. But even those who are going to United States, engineering, MS and all, maybe $10,000 to $15,000, they spend the full years of living and food. And we are talking of $125,000 to $150,000. Normally, in the first year itself, you have more than $1 lakh worth of saving. Close to 75 to 80 lakhs rupees is a saving for the first year when you go to United States. Very, very prestigious. All specializations are available: clinical, surgical. You can go to gynecology. You can do the neuro. You can become neurosurgeon. You can do the bypass surgeries. It is not an inferior program in any sense. Only thing, it is slightly not as popular as the residency program, because the residency has always been a flagship. Even salaries are far, far higher. But this is a great program if any students who feel ki USMLE is a problem for them, even though it is not. But I will explain. This is a great program. Residency is always been a flagship program, and most of the student would definitely would like to go, because when I'm talking of 1,25,000 to $1,50,000 for the physician assistant, you may start for 2.5 to $3 lakh onwards. If the surgical branches are there, maybe $4 lakh a year. Only thing, one care which everybody should take is the college must be in a world directory of medical schools. Your college, whichever college you are studying the MBBS, has to be in world directory from 2024. Also, again, they are going to re-accredit the colleges. Even Medical Council of India is today not applied for re-accreditation for 2024. Maybe after the COVID and all these things are over, the Medical Council, most of the colleges and all in India, around 440 colleges out of 536 colleges affiliated to Medical Council of India, 440 are affiliated to that. So in a sponsored note, please look at, are you ECFMG approved? That is only one check which is you required to be done if you want to go to USA. Many times you go do MBBS from a college and then you don't land in terms of that. One very basic thing, lot of students last 15 years I'm listening, surgical and clinical is very difficult in USA. And today's situation, if you, because everybody is going into different forums, I always tell, go to the official websites of United States, nrmp.org, usmle.org, ECFMG. You check actually last 3 years data on official government website. Today, the surgical and clinical are vacant seat. Just now, this last week, the government of USA has announced additional 1 round. There are already 4 rounds of admissions. They have added a 5th round of admission this year for 2021 because of the vacant seat. Even after going through the match process, the SOAP process, there are vacant seats available. There are this 2020, this is the official data. I'm all sharing all official data. I'm not going to any forum. 40,000 students, 40,084 students applied for 37,256 seats. Just now in India, figures you say 1.5 lakh students are appearing for maybe 28, 29,000. And plus now from 2021, NEET PG, around 50 to 60,000 more students will be coming back from China, Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, who has gone 6 years back. Now that is a big lot coming back. They have cleared the FMGE exam. This is one of the best ratio possible anywhere in the world. Never ever 40,000 students applying for the 37,000. Gone are those days when the residency or USMLE or your things has to be fear. Now the whole scenario has changed in United States. Don't even speak to your seniors who had gone 2 years back. Even 2 years back, situation has nothing valid today. They are not going, US citizens are not going for surgical because of the robotic surgeries coming in a big way, and lot of litigations were there. This is one of the best opportunity. Today, President Trump is announcing lot of visa curbs. None of these curbs are applicable to medical professionals. Each and every curb, they say medical professionals are welcome. They may stop you, engineering students, IT students, everybody. They are welcome, the medical students. No visa curb. Today, whatever is announced is not applicable. Everywhere is the exemption to medical students, medical anybody who is coming to United States. US medical licensing exam is not at all a difficult exam. It is one of the easiest exam, but I always say it is out of syllabus exam. Our Indian MBBS syllabus is slightly different. It has not been updated. That level of upgradation from 2022, whole world is changing. Whole world is changing. USMLE is undergoing the change. Even PLAB will become a MLE from 2023. The Canadian examinations. So what the whole world is saying, if you can diagnose a patient, you can treat a patient. Basic human body anatomy and all basic things is common. So from 2022 January, USMLE step 1, which is a clinical plus a basic science. Previously, it was a pure basic science exam. Now they have got a clinical, like national exit exam here in India is going to be national exit exam 1 with 60% clinical component is going to come. So 2022, once it becomes pass-fail, whole weightage is a step 2 CK. It is a clinical knowledge, clinical skills. It's a hospital exposure. It's the as best you get a hospital exposure and a diagnostic sick, it is going to the step 2 CK. Now USMLE, doesn't mean residency. USMLE has only 25% weightage to the residency admissions. It is not you get a great marks 265, 270 and you getting admission. Many times 270 marks, you don't get even inter-resident interview calls also. So it is very important. Many times students run after the USMLE examination, get a good marks, and they say, I did not get admissions anywhere, because we don't know where to apply also, and we don't know how the admission process. And with the national exit exam coming from 2022 and 2021, NEET PG is going to be one of the most difficult exam, because it may cross 2 to 2.5 lakh students will be appearing because of the large number of students coming back from China. USMLE on the second hand is becoming easier. Step one, they are making a pass and fail. So those who are maybe in a final year and all, that is really a great benefit out of that. I'm sharing some of the data. People say this is official data, government of USA. You say dermatology is problem. Dermatology, we get the admission 222 marks in step one. Student has got it admission and 250 as rejected. So your 10th marks, 12th marks, your graduation marks, what research you have done, what internship you have done, what papers you have published, what observership you have done, what community services, what you have done, what extracurricular activity, all this together means basically one part of profile. Then the hospital rotations in United States, then letter of recommendations. Which doctor is giving today $800 to $1,000, you get a letter of recommendation. No value. Whether the doctor who is giving the letter of recommendation, how many research paper that doctor has put in. The documentation part of it, your application, 70% Indian students struggle in a residency interview. We have our own hospital. Our doctors are taking residency interview. We train you how to really talk to the even small thing. If you are eating something and your mouth is smelling, okay, you have to brush your teeth first. 5 to 6 times a day the doctors brush their teeth. This is a very basic. How to wear the gloves, how to maintain the hygiene part of it, how the documentation. So the USMLE always works in a band. Somebody with 220 marks can get a top college, and somebody with 260 marks may not get even one single admissions process. And the step two, again, which is going to be the major now, even orthopedic surgery and all, we talk of the 230, 228 marks in orthopedic surgeons you are getting. General surgery, you say neurological surgery, you see any official, nrmp.org is a website, you go to the, because I have limited time to speak, any of the streams you go end to end, it is no longer, and this is, I'm talking of non-US IMG's data, I'm not talking of US citizens. It is international medical graduates and non-US international medical graduates. This is official data I'm sharing. And this is going to be one of the biggest now from 2022. It is like a cakewalk in USA. Corona has already helped it in a big way. Every university is talking of increasing medical seats now in United States, because there are shortage of doctors in United States. Everybody is talking of let's enhance, even though this ratio is so good, still they want to enhance this ratio. Really great salaries. Once you come back to India with a residency, there is no salary. No examinations. You can practice directly in India. US is directly exempted. You do gynecology, radiology, ophthalmology, anything you do, any surgical branches, come back to India and you start practicing from the day one. Expense wise, there is no expense in the residency. They pay you the stipend. There is no fees. In the medical post-graduation in USA, the residency program currently $4,000 to $8,000 a month is the stipends you are getting. What cost it is there in training for USMLE application process? You have to fly down to USA, do hospital rotation. You have to fly for a residency. So you have to make a provision for that particular thing. So if you are studying from first year, second year, I don't think even less than 10 lakhs rupees, everything. But if you are in a already crossed internship also, and you are in a firefighting mode, maybe you require more hand-holding, maybe you require more training in US universities. So this is going to be the biggest opportunity today. USA, one of the best ratio, and they are welcoming Indians. Today, practicing doctors in United States, 30% are Indians. Practicing doctors, and majority of doctors are in surgical and clinical. Nobody is looking at data and just making a blind statement. So we help in end-to-end from training to admissions. You can anytime you can talk to us. I will circulate. I will ask Nuralini to share. Sorry, Nuralini to share my details. So physician assistant and residency both are medical PG. Physician assistant is also great if you don't want to take it, and particularly physician assistant is useful those who had completed MBBS long back, particularly 6 years, 7 years, or 10 years back. I have completed my MBBS. Now there is a big gap, but those who are freshers who was within 3 years of completing the medical MD or MBBS, MD, there is no need for you to do MD. Plain MBBS is recognized. In fact, they discourage the MD if you have done the MD. It adds some value if you have done some research part of it. And last one point, and then I close, is the fellowships. Fellowships, short term and long term, they are welcoming. They are welcoming. You may go for 3 to 4 months. Somebody with 25 years back become doctor. He is doing the bypass surgery. Now she wants to go and do the heart replacement surgery. He wants to learn. He is going it. Robotic surgery is a lot of going. And the MBBS students are going 1 year, 2 years of fellowship. If you want to enter into the research, fellowships is really opening a gap. And you get a stipend during the fellowships. It is one of the easiest thing in fellowships in United States today. We are sending large number of fellowships to United States. So please do you join in terms of, if any questions are there, I'll be happy to take the questions.
Yes, sir. I think we can have the, thank you so much, sir. I think we'll have the questions at the end.
Yes.
Sir, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful, wonderful thing that you got us all readied up. Thank you, sir. I'd like to invite, request Dr. Tiruvayam Elumalai to say a few words about getting PG in UK after MBBS.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible, and your screen is visible, sir.
That's fine. So, thanks for those wonderful speech by two of my senior colleagues. So that was a thought-provoking and insightful. I'm just going to give the overview of why you need, what are all the opportunities available, what are the specialties available, what is the training pathway, giving in more detail for 10 to 15 minutes. Because of the time constraints, I'm starting it straight away. So 3 things why I prefer to enter into UK, or what the graduates would be thinking is, the first thing is being the research. So I could see there is a paradigm shift from the experience-based medicine to the evidence-based medicine these days. All the trainees, you should be aware about what are the relevant researches going on in your field, particularly in the medical field. So I think whatever the specialty you are choosing, it would be better you are associate yourself with research at some point of your career. It could be the PhD or MD program. If you're thinking research, you are a research person, you are having very good analytical mind, very ambitious person, UK is one of the place you could associate with one of the top universities. Could be University of Oxford or Cambridge or Liverpool or Manchester, which has a strong legacy of producing 200, 300 Nobel laureates. You can have a day-to-day conversation with the scientists, brainstorming ideas. So I would say research is one of the great thing you might be getting out of the training or fellowships here in UK. When I did a research, when I sent a survey to all the people in India, why they prefer to have some point of training in overseas, I got a overwhelming feedback mentioning that they want to get quite updated in their training. They want to be familiar with all the advancement happening in their field, familiar with the cutting edge technology in all the specialties, whether it could be liver transplant, whether they want to do the robotic surgeries or proton radiotherapy, targeted immunotherapies in cancer or oncology. So I'm not saying it is not available in India, it's there, but it is quite restricted to 5 to 10%, whereas being NHS, it is a public run fund in hospitals in UK. It is available in predominantly in 60 to 70% of all the hospitals. So if you're a person who wants to get quite updated, want to specialize everything in your field, then again, you need to think about some part of training in your career in UK. Training in UK, I would say this is NHS. I'm not sure they are already familiar with the National Health Service. It is a government-run body. So all the patients, all the people will get fairly equal treatment, whether you could be a prime minister, it could be a small person anywhere. So that's very important, when you're in the training, how to treat the people equally. And then when you're taking those training translated into Indian culture, it would be really helpful how to have a passionate approach, how to have a systematic review of the patients, compassionate communication skills. And in the training particularly, you won't see much hierarchy system here, which I say that it's quite evident in Indian system. So when you're a postgraduate training, first year, second year, third year, there are multiple hierarchy when you could get opportunities at a different position. Whereas here, if you are entering into the training program, right from the first day, you will be sitting with your consultant who would be a big professor or quite experienced one. You will be getting shadowing from him. He will observe. You won't be in a stressful situation. You will be shadowed for a certain period, and then you can have the hands-on training. I would say no hierarchy. So you will get a consistent feedback, structured training. You would maintain your e-portfolios. What are the things, logbooks maintaining every 6 months time. You will have a one-to-one chat with the supervisors. There is a consistent feedback all through your training. If you're an average person, there is a fair enough chance to get a good training in this country. Whereas in India, it's your own self-potential. I'm not saying that there is much difference, but you could feel that it's a sort of spoon feeding here. But at the end of the day, you'll be better trained. There is no competition. Since it is a government-run body, everyone will be happy to teach their specialty, whether it could be a laparoscopic surgery or whatever it is, to their colleagues, because they want to share the workload at the end of the day. Obviously, you will be getting degrees, which is quite essential at the end of the day. You could get a membership degree or fellowship degrees, which is acknowledged and accredited in India. So you can have the degree and go on straight away practice in India. There is no difference in that. Coming back to training, it's a quite complicated training structure here. So PLAB is equivalent to USMLE. You need to finish PLAB to get into the GMC registration, which is almost equal like MCA registration. You need to be a GMC registered candidate to practice medicine here. After PLAB, there is FY1, FY2, which is foundation year 2. Don't worry much about it. If you are already an internship in India, which is the case, which is happening most of the time, you don't need to go through the FY1, FY2. You just come here, work for 3 months, get the competency signed. You don't need to go through the training. After that, in equivalent to general medicine in India, there is a core training available here, something similar like a preliminary exam before entering into the end specialty. So you need to have the core training, core medical training or surgical training before taking any super specialty branch here. There is a GP practice quite familiar here. If you're a person who wants to have a day-to-day communication with the patients, GP practice is the best thing for you. You could become a consultant so soon. If you see the pathway, it is just 3 years training. After the entering into the training, you can become a consultant straight away. Whereas other pathways quite hectic. You need to work for 8 stretch years before becoming a consultant. There are some run-through training program, which is sort of end specialty in India. End specialty in India is just 3 years, whereas here it's again very hectic because they will be specialists in the subspecialty as well. The end specialties are pediatrics, obgynecology, ophthalmology, radiology, cardiothoracic surgery, and neurosurgery. If you want to enter into that you don't need to do the core medical training or core surgical training. You can straight away enter into that. So there are 2 websites, Nasir's Journey and omarguidelines.com. All the resources are quite useful. So many details available. What are all the materials you need to study? What are all the courses you need to attend? What pass percentage? The pathway is quite clear. I highly recommend you to look into if you are a candidate. seeking for UK opportunities. So most of the questions would be centered around what are the fair chances of getting into the training program. When I say training program, it is almost equal to residency in US and postgraduate in India. So what are the chances of entering into training program? This is a rough estimate of competition ratio, how many people applied for that and how many posts available. I have underlined two things, which is core medical training, core surgical training. These are the things most of us would be looking into before entering into any medicine or surgical branch. So if I say there is a competition ratio of 1.5 to 2.5, which means it is almost 100% chance you could be matched, as essentially the applicants are overlapping. So who is applying for medical could be applying for surgical as well. And then there are some people who just want to give training to get familiar with what's going on. So it's quite evident that when the competition ratio is 1.5 to 3, 100% chance you could be placed. But there is a competition between the universities, I would say. So when you are going to get into the hospital in London, the chances are quite difficult. Whereas if you want a person to enter into further north, Wales, or some down south, the chances are quite easy. I would say 100% chance. There are some posts getting vacant, as told by our senior in the US as well. So I have mentioned other specialty as well. If you are a person looking into other specialty, what's happening after the core medical training? This is just a breakup of for the past 5 years happening, not just a single year. If you see, it's consistent all through the years. Competition ratio is 1.5 to 1.7 maximum. What's happening after core medical training? After it's almost equivalent to DM program in India. After general medicine, these are all the further specialties available. Again, the competition ratio is 1.5 to 2, but there are some specialties. I would say dermatology, which is pretty much tough enough, neurology. But if you're a candidate who wants to permanently settle in UK, I'm not much worried about the specialty because salary is consistent. It is almost similar. There is no differences between the various specialties. So what are all the things people are looking here is to have a good work-life balance. Everyone wants to have a 9-to-5 job, to spend some time with the families. So think all together in a scenario. If you're really a passionate guy who really wants to do the neurology or renal, then you need to work extra bit and then compete with the candidates. This is for the surgical people. After the core surgical training, which is MS in India, what are the choices available? What is the competition ratio? I will share the slides later with your colleagues. You don't need to take it down. Just have a quick look. All the details are available in the link I have provided. You can have a quick visit on past 5 years, what's happening here. PLAB. So PLAB is almost equivalent to USMLE with regards to the entry, but with regards to the toughness, I would say it's just another exam. You can finish this exam in 6 months' time. You need to finish IELTS or OET, which is an English examination when you want to practice in UK. This is mandatory, whatever the specialty, whatever the pathway you need to enter into. So get familiar with the IELTS, start developing your English, and it's achievable exam, I would say. PLAB 1, it's just 200 MCQ questions covering all your syllabuses in the MBBS program. If you are a student who is preparing for NEET, you will just sail through this exam as easy as you could. I would say have this Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine, which is a very good book. Have it. There are small digital copy available as well. Have it in your phone. Just read through it 1 or 2 hours daily in your internship. At the end of the day, you will finish this exam. The pass percentage is 70 to 80%. And for the international graduates, it is quite high because we are preparing for the NEET exam. We will sail to this exam easily. What is the clinical exam for PLAB? It's PACES. It's something similar like the clinical stations in USMLE, but not, again, pretty simple exam. They are not testing your clinical skills or anything. You just need to have a good conversation, good communication, how you are compassionate to the patient. Those are the things they would be looking, not your core medical knowledge or something like a relevant questions you're asking, nothing matters. So pass percentage is quite high, 80%. If you're attending course or something in UK, you can finish the PACES exam. PLAB 1 is happening in India, whereas PLAB 2 is you need to travel to UK to have this clinical exam. I would say 2 to 3 lakhs if you're going to finish in first attempt. This includes the cost of travel as well as the course fees. Otherwise, it will be just 1.2 lakhs if you are a good candidate to clear this exam without any practice. I would say build your CV. So PLAB is just an entry exam. If you want to get into the postgraduate, if you want to enter into the core medical trainee, build your CV. Definitely you need 1 year experience in UK before entering into the training. You can't just straight away enter after finishing the internship. Have experience, come here, see what's going on, build your CV. You need to be familiar with audit, research, quality improvement process, which is something similar our senior said. So what is audit? It is just, it could be your medicine project, or it could be a series of observations by you in the ward. Just put it in paper, get it signed by your senior, try to publish it, try to publish your work. I know it is very difficult at your MBBS graduate level. It might not be a great one, just familiar with your research skills, publication, present in some forum, present in the national conference. It could be an oral or poster presentation. Try to do some quality improvement process. It's pretty important in UK system. So quality improvement, when I say infectious control, when you're working in the ward, you see that, oh, these are the things we could change to improve the infectious control. Just put it in paper, get it signed, make some changes in the hospital management. Leadership management courses are very important. These are all total, you're not just learning medicine, take everything together to get a good managerial position. Try to attend 2 to 3 interview courses. If possible, finish MRCP or MRCS just for spot, which in that case, it will be a very good chances for getting into the training post. If you go into the website, you can see how the scores will be marked. If there are 50 scores, interview part where you will have a clinical scenario questions will carry 50% of the questions, whereas audit, research, quality improvement will have another 50% of marks. Anyway, if that is 100% placement, you don't need to worry about the competition. But if you are a candidate who really wants to get into the Guy's and Thomas Hospital, which is one of the reputed in the world, top 10, you need to have a good CV. Imperial College London, University College London, or Big Cancer Hospital, Royal Marsden Christie, you need to build your CV. Salary, I agree that it is not quite great compared to US or Canada or Australia. So salary is very subjective. Much people are not keen about salary, but I would say if you need to convert your knowledge into money, which is pretty important. Tax system is quite heavy here, 40% of the tax, which is almost similar in India, 30% of tax. So if you see before the tax, the salary is quite good. If you are a person straight away entering in the UK, you will have a good chance to get £2,100 to £3,000 per month after tax, which you convert 2 to 3 lakhs at the entry level. At the specialty doctor level, when you are entering post-graduation, you will get 3 to 4 lakhs after tax. At a consultant level, you will get 5 to 6 lakhs after tax. But you can do locum jobs, like you can go for any time, you can work on Saturdays and out of hours, you will be paid £100 per hour. You can do night duties. If you're really a person who wants to earn money, is a good chance. You can enter into private practice. 20% of practice is private. You must be knowing about the Harley Street in London, all the big peoples, all the prime minister, chief ministers coming all over the world to have the treatment there. You could enter into that money minting area. So that's for people who are keen about salary. Consistent questions about bias, racism here. Is it safe? What are the legal issues you are facing? It's there, I would say, but it's not in the government setup. It's not in the hospital setup. You could see 1 or 2 incidences outside when you are going for shopping or something like that. But it is not based on your country of origin, something like that. So it's banned. Racism is banned. People are not having any bias at all. If you see, if any colleague doing some sort of prejudice on you, there are incident reports. There is a very good system here which could control this. Country is pretty safe. Don't go by headings in BBC or Guardian. It's highly reported, I would say. There is no crime culture. You can walk around at 9, 12 o'clock. Single man, single woman shouldn't be a problem at all. Legal issues are there, but it is shared by everyone equally. You won't be blamed. Your NHS or your hospital will take the blame. And you have a very good chance, since the documentation is quite clear here. If you're not making much negligence, You are quite safe here. Weather is bad, I agree. Even today, it is supposed to be one of the hottest today. I'm just wearing the coat. Weather is always bad, gloomy, 12 degree on an average. Just think about it. If you're a sunny person, definitely not recommended, but have a visit and see. Food and culture is different. If you're a foodie who is pretty much local about dosa, biryani, pretty tough. You need to cook on your own. Family, friends, you'll be missing for sure. Think all together as a scenario. Come and work for 1 or 2 years and decide is that really what you want before taking a final decision. You can have a training and can go back to the country at any point of the time. Shouldn't be a problem. You don't need to stay here. Immigration policy is quite clear now. The doctors are most wanted job. There is fast track visas available. You can settle after 5 years time, like green card. You will get British passport if you're really keen about it. Uh, that shouldn't be a problem. Beyond academics, so there are other things as well. If you're a sports person, Lords, Wimbledon, most of them would be a Manchester United or Manchester City fan. Tourism is best. You can travel to Switzerland in 1 or 2 hours time. Think about things beyond academics. It is not just academics. At the end of the day, you are earning, have a good work-life balance. Think that the country as such is great for you. It's just not the medical career. Think for education purpose for your kids as well, as a family as well. That's it. I will be more than happy to join you at the end of the specific questions, which we will be answering more. Thank you very much for attending this.
Thank you so much, sir. I believe you finished off everything that we had for the question session also. Thank you, sir. It was very concise and short and sweet. We'd like request Dr. Ocean Behel, ma'am, to say a few words on obtaining PG in Germany after finishing MBBS in India.
Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible, ma'am.
And now my screen is visible too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. After all the eminent speakers who have spoken before me, I feel privileged to present to you an overview of the opportunities for Indian medical students in Germany. My name is Dr. Ocean Behel, and I believe that I am the closest to you guys in age because I have finished my MBBS quite recently, and I'm not too far from you guys, so feel free to talk to me. So today I'll be just covering up on a few things. I had told Mrinalini to share the German PG video with you guys already because I didn't want any sort of overlap. But today I'll be talking a little bit about the PG system because we have seen the other countries, US, UK. So now I can give you sort of a comparative idea of the PG system in Germany compared to the other countries. So in Germany, the time required for completing a specialty is usually 5 years for medical and about 6 years for surgical. And this is similar in a lot of countries, even in UK and in the US. And in between this, you can go abroad for a fellowship or you can take a break. But if you're doing it continuously, then it takes about 5 to 6 years. And the only thing that I feel is very different in Germany compared to a lot of other countries is that any course that you enter into is basically a super specialization. For example, if I am interested in plastic surgery, then I will directly apply for a plastic surgery position, and I will not be going through an exam where I will be matched according to my rank, or I will not be going through an exam where then I will have to interview somewhere else. In Germany, PG is considered to be a job. In the PG system in Germany, there are no yearly exams, basically. There is only one exam at the end of your PG, and obviously before entering into PG also you have to give exams, which I'll be talking about. But in most of the states, that is the 12 provinces of Germany, there are no exams in between. Some hospitals do consider exams, but they are not counted in the end. To become a specialized doctor, there is only one exam at the end of your PG. And as I said before, when you're entering into the PG system in Germany, it is considered to be a job. So it is not like you are going to get a specialty. You have to look for vacancies in the specialty you want throughout the country, wherever, and then you have to apply for that position, basically. So it's considered to be a job. And unlike India, and obviously in the UK and in the US, there is no fee. But in India, we all know that there is a hefty sum that you have to pay, especially if you're going into a private medical college for PG. But in Germany, no matter which hospital you're going to, be it a public hospital or a state hospital or a university hospital, you get paid approximately 3,000 to 4,000 euros per month. And then after this, there is that taxation system, which is about 30 to 40% taxation. Right now, the salary is obviously increasing. So I would say that by now it must have become around 2.7 after taxation. So during your PG, at the beginning, you will start earning around maybe 2 to 2.5 lakhs per month, and that will go up to maybe 3 to 3.5 lakhs per month during your PG itself. Then currently, with respect to India, the visas that are required to go to Germany are like, it can be different. You can go with a student visa if you apply for any sort of course in Germany, or you can go for a language visa if you apply for any sort of language course in Germany, or you can go for a work visa or a job seeker visa, which basically helps you to stay in Germany for 6 months to look for a job. And before anyone else asks me anything, I need to clarify that language is necessary to be cleared before you apply for any sort of post in the German PG system. And this is because you will obviously be conversing with patients all the time, and that's why they need to make sure that you are fluent in German. I don't think that this is very difficult. I think it is made out to be very difficult because people think that it's a new language, but we need to understand that as medical students, we are always learning a lot of new things. And I believe that this is not difficult for a lot of medical students. There are about 10 students who are currently learning with my tutor, and they are finishing 2 out of these 4 levels, that is A1, A2, B1, and B2. They are finishing 2 of these in about 10 weeks. So I think it is quite easy for medical students to do it. So I don't think that the language should discourage you. And a lot of people have asked about coming back. So currently, actually, the scenario is a little complicated because Germany accepted Indian MBBS as an acceptable degree in 2012. So obviously, then people came to know about it and they started going there because newer prospects, better life, better earning, better travel, and an EU citizenship in the end, which is something that is coveted by a lot of people. So most PG entrances, they started in about 2 to 3 years after that. And obviously, because of this, the first wave of PG that will come back will be in 2021. And then we will have to see what the government says, because usually when there is an exchange of these degrees, it is usually bilateral. But that bilaterality can only come in once the PG has been completed by those students in the country. So we are expecting that the Indian government will start accepting German PG like it accepts US PG, UK PG, Australia PG, New Zealand PG, because Germany has a lot of Indian PGs right now. So we are expecting that, but right now it is not there. But by the time anyone from here is planning to do their PG, it probably should be there. I would say about 80% probability. Now, coming to the requirements to get into the PG. So the first requirement that everyone knows is the MBBS degree. So once you complete the MBBS degree, you can start thinking of other things. And the second requirement to get into that is work experience in a hospital. And this is similar to UK and US, where they basically need to understand that you can work in their hospital setting. So you have to do a 3 to 6 month hospitation. It's called a hospitation in Germany, which is also known as an elective in US, or as an observership in UK. And as all the other countries also require, you require a strong CV. And research, as my previous colleague already mentioned, is very important when it comes to these PG positions abroad. And the reason for this is that as a PG, you are also automatically a researcher. And your levels of promotion depend on the number of publications you've made, depend on the number of students that you're mentoring as research trainees. So all this is very important. That's why research is a very important part of your CV when you're applying to Germany. And teaching experience is usually preferred. In the UK, actually, teaching experience is very important. One of my seniors, she had to come back to India to gain teaching experience because she wanted to apply for the training program. And I'm sure Dr. Thiraviam can agree with me on that. So all these are the requirements. Other than this, obviously, language was something that I mentioned before. You need B2 level of language to apply for any sort of job position. And as I mentioned before, research is important. And UG research in Germany is actually very common. And this is something that I want to communicate to all of you, because you guys are all UG students. And I feel like if you guys start now, then you can build your CV better. And they also publish a final thesis at the end of their medical degree, which is something that we don't do. And they call this the Dr. Med degree. And because of this, they get the doctor title in front of their name, which we usually get after MBBS. And what you can do if you are feeling like you're lacking behind in research, other than joining any organizations, which I will be talking about now, what you can also do is do your own research based on public health, because they like public health researchers. You can collaborate with professors on their research, and you can also collaborate with each other to work and publish together. And as I said before, there are organizations you can join. And I realized that in India, there is no single organization that sort of helps UG students in their journey to research, which is why I started with GCMER, and it's called the Global Consortium of Medical Education and Research. And we will be sharing about this very soon. Rinalini will be sending it to all of you, but I will just give you an overview of it. It is basically a student-oriented organization, and we are helping UG students build their research CV basically, and their research experience, and not just empty experience, which is often gained by medical students in India by just including their name in some papers. And it doesn't work out, because once you go over there, they realize that what you have written on your CV is not matching with your actual skill. And that's why I believe that it is very important that you actually pursue research during your UG. And I will not focus on this too much, because I know German PG is something that I am here to talk about, but Rinalini will send you all of this. Now, coming back to German PG, the exams to give to go towards German PG are basically the first thing, that is the language exam, that is the B2 exam. Then you need a medical German exam, which is also known as the Fachsprachprüfung. Don't get confused by this. It just means a medical German exam. And after you cleared this, you join as a non-PG doctor, which is basically you will be able to work as a doctor, but you won't be a PG yet. After this, you need to give the Kenntnisprüfung, which is basically a medical entrance exam. But the only difference here is that you are not ranked on the basis of this. And I think that that is a very big advantage to students, because students who are looking for certain specializations have a lot of scope in Germany, because you can actually just clear this exam and then apply to any vacancy that you want. Sorry, I went back. Yeah. Yeah, so the FSP, which I was talking about, the Fachsprachprüfung, which is the medical German exam, it includes history taking, the case viva, the Latin to German and German to Latin medical translation test, which is basically them testing your medical German. And it basically gets you the Berufserlaubnis, which is a temporary license to practice medicine. And all this happens after you give the FSP. It does not test your clinical skill. It does not test your clinical knowledge. It tests your German medical communication skills, which is basically tested also by PLAB 2. After this, you need to give the Kenntnisprüfung, which is the approbation test, which is sort of a medical entrance test. In that, they do test your clinical knowledge, and all of this happens in German. And you need to give this within 2 years of getting your temporary work license. And the knowledge test, it is also known as, and it is basically to get you into a German PG. And there are also a lot of alternative paths, because this can seem very complicated at first, because trust me, I have started this journey about 3 to 4 years ago. And after this, I have come to the conclusion of getting all this together, because German PG is not very popular because people get very intimidated by the language. But truly speaking, German PG is an experience that shouldn't be eliminated just on the basis of language. And that's why I'm here to talk to you. And the alternative paths that you can go on is basically a PhD, which is like a research degree, after which you can join a residency after getting some experience clinically during your PhD. Other than this, you can also do a master's in public health if you really want to go to Germany, but you're not interested in clinical medicine. And other than this, you can continue to work as a non-PG doctor. Your pay will be quite similar to a PG doctor, but obviously you won't have a specialization. And unlike India, they don't look down upon non-PG doctors. That is something I need to clarify. So you will not be inferior to any doctor. But yes, if you want to continue to work as a non-PG doctor, you can do that. Now, coming to the last thing, one second. Yeah, coming to the last thing, the life in Germany. Racism is not very common. I have never faced racism when I've been in Germany. They are very open. The only thing is that if you are in certain areas of Germany, for example, Eastern Germany, they can be a little racist towards immigrants, but they are actually racist towards Turkish people who they think are taking away their jobs. But at the same time, they're also very tolerant. And since Indians look similar to Turkish people, they sometimes confuse us, and that is the only reason they can sometimes appear a little racist. But that is not at all the case towards Indians. They really respect our knowledge and they respect our skill. And the work-life balance in Germany is actually quite good, unless you enter a surgical specialization. I am not going to lie to you, because if you are entering a surgical specialization, your day starts at 6:45 in the morning and it can go on till 6 o'clock in the evening on a normal day. And other than this, you also have to do the night duties and all of that. So if you enter a surgical field, then obviously your work-life balance is a little skewed up. The work ethics in Germany is brilliant, because this is one of the reasons I'm very tempted to go to Germany. Like, I was tempted and now I'm going. Because the work ethic in Germany respects all levels. As Dr. Thiraviam very truly said, that in UK also there is no sort of hierarchy between the PG doctors. Similarly, in Germany, as soon as you enter, you will be working with senior clinicians and senior surgeons, and they will give you all the benefits of being a senior doctor. And you will also gain all the knowledge and all the clinical experience and all the surgical experience. And the salary of a doctor in Germany is one of the highest salaries in Germany, like any other country. So I don't really need to talk much about it. And I truly love the diversity of Germany, because one thing you need to understand is that if you get a German PG degree, you are getting a European PG degree. So if you get a German PG degree, you can work in any European Union country. So that is something that I find very tempting. And that is one of the reasons I'm choosing German PG. And this PG degree is valid in a lot of countries, but in India, it is still not valid. So I'm telling you this again and again. If you're hell-bent upon coming back to India, then Germany is not for you. But most people don't feel like coming back to India and they settle in Germany. So this was it. Feel free to connect to me and I can answer any other questions. I hope I was audible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was very short, precise of everything that we needed to know about Germany. Thank you so much, ma'am. I guess it's time to start answering the questions. Probably the first question I believe that comes to everyone's mind who's attending this thing. It's like when to start preparing. When to start preparing? Is it after internship or before internship when we are in MBBS or finish everything? So I'd like to ask Dr. Tushar sir to start off.
Yeah. So excellent presentation by everybody. Really congratulate everybody. Preparation, you should start from first year MBBS. Actually, there is no shortcut to any of the knowledge. We know Indian syllabus is not been upgraded that frequently. So you need, if you want to go to United States, the first year of MBBS itself, you should start preparing for the USMLE examination. Those students who will be completing, as I said, in after 2022, they can take a USMLE after that. But those who are in the final stages, maybe completed just internship, okay, unless they get a good marks, they should not be taking the USMLE, because USMLE once taken, 7 years you cannot repeat it. So it is very, very critical ki once you give it, it is not a question ki next year I give again and I improve the score. There is nothing like an improvement of the score in USMLE. So that is why it is critical. You start from the first year itself. But if you are in a third year, fourth year or final year, whichever year is there, nothing is lost. You have to put in maybe the extra hours. You need to really get accustomed to the syllabus. And as I said, it is like a out of syllabus exam. USMLE is never ever a difficult exam, but it is that things in that depth is not taught, and that is why we feel it is a difficult. But otherwise, it is a outside the box exam. At the same time, as in USA or Germany, everybody has spoken about creating your resumes, because that is to go parallelly. You have to build up the profile, you have to build up the research profile, you have to do a lot of observership here in India also. If it is not possible to go to USA, you have to publish the research paper, you have to do a lot of community service. Community service is very, very critical part of it. So all this preparation, so USMLE, please, as I said, is 25% weightage. Your balance 75%. How great is your profile? How great is academics, and what is you can create is going to be the making the difference. And that is what is the very, very critical, which every country talks about, is building of the CV. It is not only one single examination can get you to the top level.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Teraviam, sir, when should we start?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Dr. Tushar. You need to develop it right from the day one. Particularly to UK, you need to develop your communication skill and the way you interact with the patients. If you are good in communication, essentially, you are pretty much easy to clear their exams, clear the training pathway, because they are going to train you. They are not expecting much core medical stuff from you. What specifically they would be looking is how you are approaching a patient, how you are breaking the bad news when you are seeing a patient in the clinic, how empathic and how compassionate you are when the patient is saying, I'm having this pain. You need to feel long, and then you need to show some concern in your face. Those skills are pretty important. That will be accessed in your clinical stations as well as in the interview. Develop the communication skills right from the day one. Build your CV as Dr. Tushar pretty much mentioned. Get attached with the publication. Even if it is a single case report or a case series, it's not research. Like, you need to think about an innovative or creative concept. You see a series of 10 patients, you see a pattern, just put it in the Word, put it in the publication, put it in the internet forum, which will build your CV. Develop your leadership and management skills. Organize something, even if it is a single, creating a timetable for your patient, timetable for your students or colleagues. That's fine. You need to involve teaching concepts in your day-to-day life, whether it is teaching to the first-year students or second-year students, get involved in teaching, organize meetings. So those are the things very important. Obviously, our medical system is pretty competitive. So when you have reached the medicine, you are easy to crack any exams in UK. That shouldn't be a problem. These ethical issues are the thing you need to be familiar with, I would say. So we discussed about when we need to start the preparation. So I didn't cover the topic particularly. There are a lot of people who wants to have some degree in India, particularly MDMS, and then want to come to this country to get more experience. I didn't cover that concept fully in my presentation. If you're a person who really wants to come back to India, I would say have some degree in India. I would say either MD General Medicine or MS Surgery or some degree. Come back to this country, get fellowships. You don't need to clear any exams like PLAB or MRCP. There is an alternate pathway, which is Medical Training Initiative. You just, our MDs are directly recognized here. All you need is good CV, good publication, get the right contacts, apply the jobs in the jobs NHS side, which is pretty transparent. The interview is fair. That is the route I entered in this country. I finished my post-graduation in JIPMER, came to the MTI pathway, which is only for 2 years. But if you're going to finish any fellowship exam like FRCR I did, you are essentially ready to become a consultant here. Meanwhile, finish your portfolio here. So you can enter at any level. But if you are really keen to settle in this country, just move after finishing internship, get the PLAB done, come to training at the age of 26, 27. You have a good chance to become a consultant. Good earning. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Ocean, ma'am.
Yeah, obviously, any preparation for any specialty exam quite obviously starts as soon as you enter your MBBS. To be a little more concise with respect to Germany, I would say that you should start preparing your language while you are doing your MBBS. You can start in first year, you can start in second year, you can start in third year, but try to finish all the languages, that is A1, A2, B1, B2, by the end of fourth year. Because the thing is that I decided that I wanted to go to Germany when I was in third year. And that is when I suddenly started focusing on all these things. And I feel like I have delayed myself. And that is the first thing I tell everyone, please start your language courses. And when it comes to building your CV, that is something that starts from your first year. For example, when I was in my second year, I started going to international conferences, even when I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew that any sort of research would be useful for me. And that was actually how GCMER sort of developed, because I realized that medical students in India don't have the kind of avenue that they need to pursue this research and build their CV to a level where they are comparable to the students of that country, or even better sometimes. So you can build your CV, definitely. It's not difficult at all. You can do research projects. I have done a bunch of research projects, and I have still passed MBBS, and I have cleared it very well. And I have shared it with you. I have asked Mrinalini to share it, and you guys can refer to it. And you guys can see sort of what is important in your CV and what works. And yeah, language, CV, and after that, immediately go for hospitation during your internship, like you go for elective to the US. And I saw that in the chat, there was a question that asked, do you decide where you do your hospitation in Germany? Yes, of course, you can decide where you want to do it. And I did it in Dresden. And right now I'm going to start doing my Dr. Med in Dresden as well. So it usually happens that if you're doing a hospitation in one hospital, you sort of gain contacts and then you end up applying to that hospital. So yeah, I think that answers the question.
Thank you, ma'am. I guess another question which follows this one is, what if you're too late? Like all of the panelists, they said start from first year, second year. What if you finished your MBBS? Like if there are many interns who are watching this actually. What if you're an intern and you decide, oh my God, I guess I didn't realize that I wanted to go abroad, but now I do. What would be your suggestion, ma'am? Ma'am, I think you can start off because you kind of touched on that.
Okay. So if you feel like you're late, I feel like in the medical fraternity, there's nothing called being late, because you need to understand that students in the other countries, if you're entering into a specialization at the age of 24 or 25, then students in other countries often enter specializations at the age of 27 and 28, and they are very proud of themselves. And these lost years that we consider are honestly not lost, because you can always gain experience. And whenever you are starting at a point where you think it's too late, you should always talk to someone who has already been there. For example, if some intern comes to me and they tell me that I want to go to Germany, then the first thing I'll tell them is, do the language courses right now in 8 months, finish them, and just go to the country, go to Germany, and by next year you will be in a residency program. So it is really not that difficult. It just matters how fast you need to finish it off. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Tushar, sir.
Yeah. So we have very, very structured program. Those who have completed the internship and never thought of going outside India, we have very, very clear 9 months to 18 months program. So it is depends on the proficiency, what you are there, how much preparation or how much really sincerely you have done your MBBS course. So we are very structured. We provide them the training. Large number of students we used to earlier fly down to United States, used to give the USMLE classroom training, because normally in around 14 weeks we can complete the step 1, 6 weeks in step 2. So it's like a crash course, we call it in India. So it is only the difference what in India MBBS and USA they call is MD degree. So the difference between the MBBS syllabus and MD syllabus, as long as we are able to bridge that part of it, and the parallelly we do the hospital rotation. So 9 months to 18 months, the period which you require additionally, if you are not done anything till your internship is completed. Very, very structured program is there, because US always talks of the processes and everything. So they have very, very structured program suiting all types of student. US is a 3 times bigger country than India. It's an ocean. So it's a number of hospitals, number of doctors, everything. It is a 3 times bigger. It's and 1/3 the population of India. So that is why there is a huge requirement, shortage of doctors. So they can absorb any amount of doctors now today there. So they have very, very structured programs which we run it in United States, and you should not have much of the problem. But maybe 9 to 18 months depending on your profile. That is the additional time. As Dr. Ocean was saying, this is if you look back after 25 years in your life, 1 year here and there doesn't make any difference.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Trivium, sir, just before we go on, I believe Dr. RRM, sir, would like to say thank you, sir. Due to some personal thing, sir has to leave. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us through this thing. You kind of set off the base. I'm sorry, sir, your audio is muted.
Your audio is muted, sir.
Thank you, Mrinalini, for giving me an opportunity here. Thank you, Oshin. Thank you, Thiravim, sir, and thank you, Tushar, sir. Nice meeting you all.
Thank you so much,
This is actually an broad opportunity, so there are many questions from the students you have to answer, and I think this session will extend. I'm having another class on online, so I'm leaving. Thank you.
Thank you so
sir.
much,
Nice.
sir. Your
Bye.
presence was very much valued. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Dr. Thiravim, sir, I'm so sorry for that. Please do go on.
No problem. Yeah. So I was in similar boat. I was not even aware about how to read an article, not having any publication or any accolades with my name when I finished MBBS. I would say it's not a big deal. You can come here, just book your IELTS exam, book your PLAB exam. There'll be a fair enough period of 6 to 12 months time when you can work in any hospital, whether it could be any private hospital or government hospital, as a residentship or as a RMO, and can try to get something out of it. it's not mandatory. You can come here, this country, work for 6 months to 1 year. The opportunities are quite good because it's not very competitive. If you're a really interested person, you go and approach a supervisor saying, I am interested in research or audit. Plenty of chances they will be giving. There are so many, the database is quite good. If you are a really interested person, you are coming to this country, definitely you will have a good chance to develop your CV in 1 year time. You will be competent enough, like the local candidates, to apply for the job. So it's never late, shouldn't be a problem. And also, I could say another question is neat enough to pass the PLAB exam. I think the complexity of the NEET exam, which means you might have already covered entire subject. All you need is a bit familiar with the good clinical practice in UK. There are some ethical questions. How will you assess the mental capacity of the patient? Some tough scenarios, leadership qualities. So I would say familiar with Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine. But if you are a person who are already familiar with the UK book like Harrison in America, there are equivalent Oxford book in UK. If you are a person, you could read those books right from your MBBS day. You might be in a safer place. Whether Ganong, Cunningham. So most of the books are based on the researchers in UK. So our Indian system is pretty much similar. Like curriculum is similar. So if you're a good candidate to pass NEET, it shouldn't be a problem in passing PLAB, I would say.
Thank you, sir. I have my co-moderator Kiran here with me. He'd like to ask some of the we actually compiled the questions since there are so many questions. Like Dr. Rajamahendran sir said, I guess it will take all night to answer all questions, but just a few important ones. Kiran.
Hello, can you hear?
No, we can't hear him.
Okay, then I'll just read it through whatever he sent. I'm sorry for that. The next thing is how much will it take? Like sir covered how much money it will take to get to UK, but for US, sir, Dr. Tushar, sir, how much money?
Yeah, so for USA, if you're starting early, as I already said, if you start from first year onwards, what money you require is 2 months of hospital rotations. You require to apply. You need to go to different hospitals for the resident interview, means internal travel and other things. Normally, I recommend around 25 lakhs rupees. You should make a provision for USA. But if you are like in a situation when you have not done anything and you have already completed internship and all, maybe it may require, because you may have to take additional classes, classroom sessions in United States, it may go to 50 to 60 lakhs. But as compared to India, if you say 50 lakhs also is far, far cheaper. And when you enter into the residency, it is like working there, you get a proper salary. In 1 to 1.5 years, you can repay the complete bank loans. Even if you take 50 lakhs rupees bank loan, you can repay it 1 to 1.5 years. And that is the beauty of US. Doctors and lawyers are one of the highest paid there. So money doesn't come into the picture. There are so many banks which are providing the finances. If you have any relatives in United States and they are ready to send as a guarantor, 3 to 4 or maximum 5% interest rate, you take the bank loans, which is very, very easily available. Anytime, even if you are going to USA, even Indian banks will be very courteous, and they will be providing you the bank loan very, very easily. So do not worry about the money part of it. If you don't have anything money, don't ask your parents. That's what I say. It is now the independently student can manage all the funds which is possible. But 25 lakhs to 50 lakhs, that is the provision. But minimum 25 lakhs is definitely required, because a lot of expenses, lot of hidden expenses are there, particularly as regards your traveling, because you have to go to residency interview, means you have to go. Maybe if due to COVID, some of the interviews are happening now online. So travel restrictions are there, but soon that part will go and again it will start.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Ocean, ma'am.
Yeah, so for Germany, actually, since the system is not that well laid out, there are a lot of places where students often lose money if they go to like big institutes that are saying that they are going to take them to Germany. But I can assure you, and I am also sort of warning you about this, that the expenses that are required are, number one, language. And if you go for Goethe Institute, which is the certification institute, obviously you need to get certification from there, but it is not necessary to take classes from Goethe Institute. And that is something I need to tell everybody, because Goethe Institute charges about 25 to 30,000 for every level. Whereas if you take, for example, my tutor, like I am helping students get to my tutor, and the A1 to B2 language level in Goethe Institute is going to take about 1.2 lakhs. Whereas if you do it with, like, for example, my tutor, they are doing it for about 60 to 70,000. So that is just 60 to 70,000. Then when you're going for your hospitation, that will be the second expense. And that will take you, like my hospitation took me about 1.5 lakhs. And this was on the higher end actually, because I was staying in a very good place, and you can also stay in the campus, which is quite affordable. And that will take about 1.5 lakhs. So that becomes about 2.1 lakhs. And then after that, you need to apply for exams, you need to apply for certification. All of these together come out to about 500 euros, 500 to 1,000 euros. And that is about 6 to 7 lakhs. So I would say all in all, in about 8 lakhs, you should be in Germany. I would say that. And you will cover up these 8 lakhs in the first 2 to 3 months of your residency. So don't worry about it.
Thank you, ma'am. I believe Kiran is now here. Kiran?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, Kiran, you're audible, but your voice is breaking a little.
Is there a particular timeline for PLAB like USA? Can you suggest any timeline for them?
Sir,
for USA or UK? What he said? I could
for
not
UK, sir, he's asking any timeline for UK.
Yeah, I will give. I have seen some other questions as I will cover everything briefly. So for the first question, how much cost would it take to clear these exams and to enter into specialty training or get the GMC registration? Yeah, it's a big thing, because when you enter into the medical stream, you have not started earning. Arranging 3 to 4 lakhs is really a big deal. Some people need to get the loan, something like that. But I was in the similar situation to arrange those money. That's why I went into a postgraduate scheme, start earning myself, and then went into the pathway of doing these exams. These days, the resources are pretty clear in the internet, so you don't need to take the exams multiple times. If you are sitting for PLAB exam straight away after the internship, you can finish PLAB with 1.5 lakhs to 2 lakhs. You need to clear English exam 10,000. If you are taking 4 to 5 attempts, maximum 50,000. GMC registration, medical council, like medical council registration is 50,000. So altogether, I would say 4 lakhs to 5 lakhs for the PLAB exam. If you are going to write the MRCP exam, membership exam, like postgraduate exam, that will take again 3 to 4 lakhs to get into the GMC registration, to get into training. If you are straight away writing the fellowship exam, the final exam, if you are already a super specialty candidate or post medical with long training, 10 years, 15 years training, or 5 years training, you can straight away write the fellowship exam, FRCP, FRCR, FRCS, and can become a consultant straight away. That exam will take like 4 to 5 hours, but pretty difficult to clear those exams without much training in this scenario. So those are all the things. Other questions I could see. Should we need to do any more exams after clearing the postgraduate in UK to practice in India? I think MRCP, FRCR, FRCS are directly recognized as per Medical Council website. You don't need to do any more post-graduation. You can just have the degree, associate yourself. Not sure about the government posting if you want to work in AIIMS or JIPMER or PGR in government hospitals, but corporates would be more than happy to include you among their circles, as you are equally competent. Like other questions, how many years does it take to complete super specialty in UK compared to India? We need to calculate everything in total. So you are preparing for postgraduate exam for nearly 1 to 2 years on an average for NEET exam, and then after MD we are preparing for another 1 or 2 years to get the super specialty post. 3 years, 2 plus 2. So if it is 10 years in India to get the super specialty, here it is only 8 years. But there won't be any gap. If you're entering in the straight away till end, you are high likely to become a consultant in the same hospital or whatever the hospitals, because jobs are available everywhere in this country. The trainees here or the students here are not much into the medical field. They are going for economics, business. All jobs are equally competent here. Not like India, where there is a horse race in medical fields. So I would say once you enter into the training high chances of becoming a consultant soon. Places are becoming vacant. That's the scenario. Other question? Yeah, that's it at the moment. I will come back later.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. And another question that many of the participants have asked is, yes, all the other countries, they require research, unlike India, but is it necessary that it has to be published somewhere? Because I have a few people who are asking me that if it's not published, I've done 1 or 2 papers, but I'm not yet published. I'm an intern, I'm a final year student, I don't have the time. How will that affect my CV? Dr. Tushar, sir, I think.
See, the process, I think everywhere is the same. In India, we have got a AIIMS level of hospitals, which are the premium hospital. We have the mid-level of government hospital. We have private hospital. We have deemed universities. When you go to USA also, if you want to go to premier institutions, if you want to go to the Stanford, you want to go to Columbia or any of the Ivy League, definitely you require a proper research paper to be published. Okay, but if you want to go do only the residency, and that to a good college, a really decent college, and you have not done any of the research paper, it's okay. We may add, see, when we evaluate your profile, we will add that extra leverage in terms of, one is you have scope to add on to USMLE. So if one student who has done a great research may get with 220 marks also into the residency, you may require, instead of 220, 230 marks, you may require maybe 1 month or 2 months of additional hospital rotations. So there are all types of residency program. As I said, there are 40,000 students applying for 37,000 positions. So many times what happens, everybody just goes like in India, AIIMS. Not everybody gets admission into AIIMS. Okay, you get admission based on your profile of the students. And in United States also, there you just jump into the California side, New York side, or some of the very, very New Jersey side in states. But if you go to Texas, you go to Ohio, you go to Florida, you have great hospitals and great research which is happening, but may not be that popular. There are a lot of research which is happening in United States. 84% of the research into the hospitals there. And that is where the role is to match your profile with the university. It is never a good or bad. Internet search will give you what are the best universities or programs across the globe. But whether you get into the MIT or Harvard is something which is matching your profile. So don't worry about it. Don't do, if you are not done, if you are in a first year, second year, please do it. But if you have already completed your internship and now you don't have any research experience, doesn't matter. We will handle that part of it. We will match your things with a CV, with a program, and then we will take you. So residency is no longer difficult, even though you have not done a research. But any research is always preferred. You get a better college, you get AIIMS. So if to go to AIIMS, definitely you require to do far more than going to any of the deemed university. It's that simple.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Terviam, sir?
Yeah, I agree. So depends upon the competition where you want to put yourself. And if you are seeking for a top hospitals, definitely you need research background. I understand very difficult to have some research background in the undergraduate level, even in postgraduate level, unless you are doing in AIIMS or PJ or some pre-med institutes, very difficult to get the publication. from our country. How can you match that? There are what they are looking is you need to be a first author in a peer-reviewed journal. That's the thing they're expecting. It not necessarily a Lancet or NEJM or Nature. There are some peer-reviewed Indian journal available. Indian Journal of Neurology, Indian Journal of Dermatology. Just if you see day to day, if you see a rare case, just put it in a good writing. Get it reviewed by your senior people. Let them be a corresponding author. You be a first author. Try to publish it. It's not a big deal. It's just take time consuming. Once you start working, you can do publication at any point, any level of your training. Yeah, it essentially it needs to be a peer-reviewed journal, PubMed indexed. You need to be a first author. 1 or 2 publication is more than enough. If not, at least try to present it in the local conferences. It could be a state conference, international conference. If you are presenting in any international conference, your abstract will be published in the journal, which is something similar like publication at your level of training. So it need not to be original paper. It can be abstract presentation as well, which will be coming in the reputed journal. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Ocean, ma'am.
Yeah, so actually, as Dr. Tushar sir and Dr. Thiravyam sir already said, research is always preferred, and that is something that lacks in the Indian system. And even in Germany, it's almost the same, because they consider research to be very important. In fact, so important that if you finish your basic medical degree, you don't get the doctor title. You only get it after you have published your research thesis as the first author. Kiran, can you mute yourself? Yeah. So what I was talking about was publishing your research. So that is something that a lot of students get intimidated by, actually. In my UG, I published 3 papers. And the thing is that it is a long process, especially if it is peer reviewed, because all of my publications took almost like 6 to 8 months to get from the submission stage to the publishing stage. But it is something that is a skill that is developed over time, and it never goes to waste. That is something I will tell you, because when you go into your clinical practice also, people will always prefer referring to a doctor who is good with evidence-based medicine, and that is something that research teaches you basically, and it keeps you in touch with the ongoing medical practices. And as sir already mentioned, PubMed index journals are always preferred. And actually in the GCMER Journal Club, we always discuss PubMed index journals, papers from PubMed index journals, so that we sort of get an idea of what they had worked on, what their process was, what are some things we can do, what are the do's and don'ts basically. So yeah, that is something that I am very passionate about, research. I'll be talking about it on 30th also at an IMA MSN conference only of Kerala. So yeah, research is very important, I would say. And to answer the question, actually, that if you haven't published your research will always go on your CV as a research project. You can always add it as a research project. And if they ask for an explanation, if it comes to that, then you can always explain that the research publication process was not in my time limit, and I do know how to do it. That is something you can always say.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have a question, Kiran. I'm sorry, the net in Tamil Nadu is not that good right now.
We understand.
Kiran?
Ma'am, can you hear me now? Am
Yeah.
I audible? How long can we stay as a non-PG doctor in Germany, ma'am?
As a non-PG doctor, if you want to do your PG, then you have to give the exam within 2 years. And if you are working as a non-PG doctor, then to extend your visa to continue practicing, you have to keep reapplying. But you can work as a non-PG doctor in Germany if you are attached to a good university hospital.
Okay, ma'am. And the next question is to Tiruviyam, sir. Few words on IELTS, sir.
Yeah. So initially, the IELTS was like structured to have a entry exam, English exam for all the universities all over the world. I think Cambridge is running it. Later, they find that the admissions are getting very slow down from all over the countries because of the toughness in that. So there are various grades in IELTS from 4.5 to till maximum of 9. For a doctor, for a professional health professional to practice in UK, you need to get 7.5 as an average with a minimum score of 7 in each. There is a writing component, speaking component. It takes time. I would say minimum 6 months time. If you are really keen about IELTS, start develop your English skill in everything, the way you communicate, the way you watch movies, BBC, and you need to be aware about the accent, what they are practicing here. So not a easy exam, I would say, but there is a recent exam which is OET, which is something similar to IELTS, approved by General Medical Council. What it essentially is catered for doctors. So it's something similar, like how would you take the history taking, recollecting, how would you read the journal, comprehension questions, speaking component. So yeah, if you are not good enough in the IELTS, go for OET. Pretty much achievable in 6 months time if your graduation is in the local language, and which is the case in all over the India. So shouldn't be a problem at all. You can achieve it in 6 months time, and the exams are happening in every fortnight time in India. There is an online exam as well. You need IELTS exam if you want to come as an immigrant as well, but the policy keeps on changing. Just look into the UKVA website if you're I can also update if you're really keen about IELTS exam further.
Thank you, sir. We also have
So, yeah.
No,
Next question is, what is the duration of various PG courses in UK, sir?
Something similar, like I mentioned before. If you want to become a GP practice trainee, which is like you are a general practitioner, after the training, you can become a consultant in 3 years' time, which is the simplest route. If you are a person who want a cool job, not to get involved in much research or something like that, GP practice is fair enough. But if you want to enter into the specialty like neurology, oncology, something like that, it's quite hectic. Total duration is on an average 8 years time. Something similar for radiology, ophthalmology, ENT. So 8 years time, the day you start your post graduation till you become a consultant. Usually it won't work like that. If you see your colleagues, they will take a break, go for a MD or PhD, like what I'm doing. I'm a clinical research fellow actually, working for oncology hospital, bringing out some quality paper publications in Lancet, Nature, something like review articles. So that will come all your life, your 1 or 2 publication, quality publication. So that's essential when you're looking back 20, 30 years later, what you have achieved. So people tend to take a break between the training to go for PhD or MD before essentially becoming a consultant. So on an average 10 years, if you are entering postgraduate before becoming consultant, but there are alternate pathway as well.
Okay, sir. Next question to Ocean ma'am is super specialty in Germany after MS or DNB in India. What is the scope of it, ma'am?
So after MS or DNB in India, they count the MS DNB years. That is, if you have finished 3 years of MS or DNB, then they will count it as some amount of experience, because they don't go by years. They go by the number of surgeries you have done, or the number of like they have a logbook basically, like we have during our internship. So they go by that, and if you match that, for example, the first 2 years of German PG, 5 to 6 years, is always the basic medical training, be it surgical or clinical, like clinical medicine. So in that case, if you match that, then those 2 or 3 years will be removed, and then you will directly enter into the super specialization 4 years training, But obviously, before that, you will have to give FSP and KP for sure. And if you are entering after doing some sort of degree in India, then the Kenntnisprüfung, which is the approbation exam, that will contain questions related to your field that you are applying to, basically.
Okay, ma'am. Next question to Tushar sir. It is, can a PG doctor in India can apply for physician assistant program in USA?
Yeah, definitely, because it is a post-graduation program. See, like in India, once you complete the MBBS, you can start practicing it. It is not mandatory to do a post-graduation here in India. But in United States, the minimum qualification is the post-graduation, either physician assistant or a residency program. So if you have already done MD/MS, it will definitely add value. It's a 2-year straight course in United States. So the students who wants to go and settle down in United States, or those students who have the fear of USMLE at this stage, I don't want to go through the whole clumsy process of USMLE. I will go, I will complete it, I will work for 2-3 years in US hospital, earn good amount of money, and then it is only you have to give the clinical exam, because step 1 is going to be pass fail. And then I still do the residency because I double my salary. Because if you are getting a 1.5 lakhs dollars a year in a physician assistant, in residency you may get 3 lakh or 4 lakh dollars a year. So that is why many, even after 3 years, 4 years or 5 years, as you are working it in United States. So physician assistant is really very, very popular and very competitive programs also. 150 universities are taking the Indian students especially. And it's a post-graduation program, and that is the minimum qualification in United States. So any student, in fact, now it is also started giving the pathway to homeopathy and Ayurveda also. So a lot of student who wants to convert from Ayurveda and homeopathy to the homeopathy and Ayurveda to allopathy. This is one of the really great program across the world, actually, which is giving the pathway program. So many students, it is really a great program. No restriction. GRE TOEFL, that's the only exams. TOEFL, both exams happening currently online. You just apply March every year. In the month of March, the course starts. You can, even if you have completed internship, immediately we apply, and March it will start 2 years of the program.
Thank you, sir. The next question goes to Dr. Thiravyam, sir.
So can we repeat PLAB for improving the scores?
Not required. So your PLAB scores won't be counted. It's just a pass-fail exam, irrespective of you're getting 190, 160. If you cross 110 to 120 mark, you are just pass or fail. It won't be counted anywhere in your training program later. So it's the entry level for the training program in UK is basically interview. There is 50 scores in the interview. Out of 50 scores, it is equally divided between the your CV, your previous experience, and your performance in the particular interview. I can send the link about it later. You can see how the breakup is happening for various specialties, whether it is psychiatry or medicine or surgery, so that the person specification is important. If you are particularly appearing for the training, build your CV based on what is required for that particular position. Essentially, PLAB is just an entry-level exam, just pass-fail.
So next question to Tushar sir. As step 1 is gonna become pass or fail from Jan 1st of 2022, is it gonna hinder the chances of an IMG matching into super specialty or specialization, whatever it is? I mean the competitive branches like surgery or ophthalmology or psychiatry. What's your take?
No,
on
I think
that,
it is, now it is going to help it. See, the one thing you should be very clear, it is not a rote learning. See, USMLE, if you have gone through the website, and they have really elaborated the reason why they changed from marking system to pass-fail. The human body, the anatomy, and the basic sciences, I should have the great knowledge. But why one doctor is better than another doctor is based on the diagnosis skill. If you can diagnose a patient, you can treat a patient. That is a buzzword everywhere. So that is why it is the students were going through psychological pressure of USMLE, USMLE, USMLE. It is like a phobia. It was there. And then when we realize that higher USMLE mark doesn't mean a better doctor. That is, they have clearly mentioned in a document if you read it. That higher USMLE step 1 marks doesn't mean a better doctor. Just you put in 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours and somehow you pass this examination. Maybe you are not knowledgeable. It is just a rote learning. It is not going to happen. So it is going to be the whole world. It is changing. The ethics part, what even in UK we have spoken about the different communication skills. So it is a combination of all these things which is going to be very, very critical, and it is a welcome change for India. So those who are fundamentals are very, very clear. Those who are very, very basic. So higher marks doesn't mean, it is basically you should have great clinical, great research profile. It is not a rote learning. So it is a welcome, and large number of students now will be benefited for this particular part of it, because you have to just pass and fail. It is not a currently, otherwise it's a 7 years you cannot repeat. You think of a situation. Many students take in India today the USMLE, and then they say, I don't get a surgical and clinical. Or you are bottom, somehow you passed it only, and you cannot expect to get a greater. So that is why it is, this is a really for middle students, middle profile student also, it is going to attract it. Number of seats are going to increase. The surgical and clinical seats are vacant actually because of the robotic surgery is coming into that. Lot of litigations are having in the medical fraternity. IMGs are going to tremendously benefit out of this. There's no question about it. It will be mushrooming of the students which will be going to USA.
So what is the process of getting electives or clerkships, sir?
In
and
USA?
how many months? Yeah, and how many months prior we should apply for them? Or is there any free clerkships offered by the hospitals, or they are paid?
Free clerkships are provided if you plan it well. If you apply 6 to 8 months in advance, you properly do your research, the free clerkships are available. Otherwise, it is a paid clerkships. Most of the time, those who come as a firefighters, it is a paid clerkship which are there. Electives, you choose it. Based on the electives, what you choose it, we will basically be able to set a target for the USMLE. So currently till 2022, if you are a student till 2022, we set your target. We take your mock test. NBME is the government of USA body which takes the testing part of it. If you get 250 marks in NBME exam, you can take the exam USMLE. It's a thumb rule. Very clear thumb rule. If you are not getting 250 marks in NBME test, which is a free test currently taken by the paper setters themselves, actually this is a free test which is there. Otherwise, we take our own test. We will, because 7 years you cannot repeat, please understand. So in a first attempt, you have to get a good marks. 2022, the situation will be very, very clear. All elective, whichever electives you want, it is possible to get it. We will set the target. If you are not getting the marks, we will say 2 months you study, you give the every 2 months. In India, USMLE happening almost four days a week. It is a continuous exam throughout the year. This USMLE exam happens throughout the year. So you should not, whenever you are ready, you give the exam. If you are not ready, don't take the exam. It is a very simple profession.
Thank you, sir. I believe, Dr. Ocean, ma'am, do you still have time? We'll be ending the session in around 5 to 10 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah, actually, I have a research lab meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was so wonderful to have you here, ma'am. And you've shared so much with us, how to do a CV and all. And it meant for many people, Germany is a new country. It's always USMLE, lab, and UK. They don't even think about Germany. Thank you so much, ma'am. We really treasure your valued time spending it here with us, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
No, it was a great opportunity actually. You treasure my time. I treasure this opportunity to actually reach out to so many students who might be lost, who might be confused. And it is always good to hear from someone who is going through the process. And other than that, don't forget to fill out the counseling form. It is not anything related to money, just trust me. I'm just trying to reach out to as many students as possible. Also, the Global Journal Club of GCMER, where we discuss about research papers. If you're interested, you can join it tomorrow. I will send you the WhatsApp group link if you're interested. We will be talking about hepatic surgery because National Liver Day is coming up, actually, Hepatology Day is coming up. So we will be talking about that. I will bid adieu to everyone. Thank you, Tushar sir. It was very, like, I didn't know about the physician assistant program. Maybe I would have gone for that. And Dr. Thiraviyam sir also, like, it was brilliant to hear from you about UK from that perspective and the way you outlined everything. So, okay, I will go now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I really appreciate German as a country. I have an office in Berlin. So
okay.
we have been doing a lot of work into Germany. It's really great. In fact, we are working with the Medical Council of India to, even for MBBS also, not much of the universities are accredited by Medical Council of India. So maybe you can push those universities, because what German universities are really not interested here in India. So if they can do some paperwork with Medical Council of India, maybe more students will come to Germany also.
Exactly.
So it's a great country, and I really appreciate Germany very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
But we do have a lot of questions coming in.
Sir, next question to Thiruvam sir. Which one you prefer? I mean, PLAB or MRCP or MRCS after MD in the India, sir?
I think if you are a general medicine MD or general surgery in India, it would be reasonably easy to clear MRCP or MRCS straight away. But if you are from some other background, MD like me, MD radiotherapy or MD pathology, MD pharmacology, then easy way to get into the training as quick as possible is finishing the PLAB. So I would say MRCP, MRCS rather than doing PLAB for those people, because it essentially give you more scope to enter into training. But for the surgical candidates, this one point I already forgot. There is a concept of overtraining. If you are overtrained, like if you have established the MS degree, you might not enter into the training program in UK because they want to train their candidates in their own way. It is very difficult to again train them. That's what they are thinking. So if you're really thinking about surgery as a career in UK and want to settle here, try to come here and get the surgical training done rather than doing it in India and coming back later. But if you're already a surgical trainee there in India, then clear MRCS, come here, work for 2 to 3 years. Unlikely to enter into the training program, but during the corona situations, now they have changed all the plans. So we don't know what we are heading towards. We need to wait for 1 or 2 years to see what are all the things coming up. Yeah, I would say go for MRCP or MRCS.
Sir, to Tushar sir, is it possible to get residencies in Ivy League right after the MBBS?
Very difficult, because Ivy League in India, I have not seen the students have great research profile. Again, we have discussed on the research a lot of things. If you are a student which has done to showcase proper research, you have done extensive profile, it is possible. It is theoretical. It is possible. I have not seen really a great students going towards that. Many times what the students do, they fly down to USA, they work like in any other countries, they spend 1 year of time, they do the fellowships. So entering into the fellowship is always really a great thing in United States. If you want to go to Ivy League and you don't want to go to any other colleges, your profile is good, you spend 1 year or 1.5 years in terms of the fellowship. Recently, I sent some student, there is a big childcare hospital in Detroit. Okay, and there is a pharmaceutical company which is running a research project there for 7 months premature babies. They designed a drug which has to be administered to that 7-month premature babies, and then they monitor the progress of that particular thing. So it's a clinical trials and all these things. Now the doctor who is actually doing it, he getting almost like $1,40,000 per child. In Indian rupees, maybe 1 crore per child he's getting it. Normally he does 50 to 60 child in a year, around 50 to 60 crores he is earning. And then he requires a big research team. So if you engage into the research, if you have not done anything, it is the best idea to go to USA for research fellowship project. They will pay you the stipend. It is not a money part of it, because you are going to the hospital, work 1 year, 2 years in a hospital, build your profile of research profile, and then you give the USMLE parallelly, you prepare for USMLE, and then you go to the Ivy League. That is the better way. But if you say just I passed out MBBS, I have no profile, no research profile, no observership, and I want to go to the, I have not seen such type of direct going. But definitely it is not. There are a lot of Indians who are doing the residency in all top universities in the world. So it is not Indians are not able to do, but then you have to give 1 or 2 years extra to be in United States and complete the research projects.
Can you suggest any sites or the process of getting papers published or doing research work in India during MBBS?
Oh, there are various sites. We can send you the link actually later on. So already we have discussed some of the links which are there, and medical students that way are aware. But international publications always makes even a sense if you are going to USA and if you can publish it there, lot of things. So we can help it actually. See, it is a process. Research, publication, you have to have the serious efforts done into that. It is not a question of just you write something and you want to publish it. It should have substantial. Research is in India, the word research is used differently than in USA. If the research cannot be put into use for the humanity, that research has no value. Only pure theoretical research has no meaning. Can we implement that research? Is it practicable? It is commercially viable research. That is a real research what they talk of. I read 5 books, 10 books, I create some of the documentation, that is okay for the admission part of it. But that is not a real research. Is it going to be implemented? Can we implement that research? Can it be used for the human purpose? That is the research. So research has different meanings when we say it. And when we actually go to USA and do the fellowships and research, those are really serious research, because that is directly been implementable. It is not only just remains in the paper for life. It is nobody looks at that, somebody looks at that, somewhere it is published, that's all. It is not done. That is not what Americans look at. It's the thinking process is very, very different.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from one of the participants asking if we can give both the next one exam, that is the next exam, and USMLE step 1 exam together, sir. Will that be a useful thing, kind of, they're asking?
Yeah, see, both exams are almost similar. I see, in fact, national exit exam is derived from USMLE directly. But because of the copyright issues and other things, the modification. So it is still you have the document already, medical association is there. It is the step 1 is going to be around close to 13.5 hours exam spread over 3 days, 4.5 hours exam, which will have the 60% clinical component and the base science. It's a combination which is happening. Once you do that, you will do the internship and then the national exit exam though. What USMLE does is similar. Once you prepare for USMLE, you are preparing for next exam also. There is no need to have a separate preparation for national exit exam once you are doing a USMLE. The pattern, slightly type of questions being asked slightly may differ it. But even USMLE step 1 is now the many parts of it's a step 1 and step 2, 60% is overlapping syllabus in USMLE also. So that is why previously a lot of students used to do the step 2 first and then the step 1, because in India, the clinical part is very, very good. And first year, second year, third year, normally you tend to forget by the time you reach the final year. Now the situation has changed again, because now the clinical part has been put in the step 1. So national exit exam, which is a 13.5 hours exam, it is going to be a difficult exam. till the time this is going to be the first time it is happening in 2022. So we have to see. But the best part to prepare for national exit is USMLE. It is copied USMLE. So you prepare for USMLE, your national exit will be taken care of. No separate preparation is required. And both exams simultaneously, definitely. It is a mandatory. National exit exam is a mandatory exam to practice in India. You cannot do even internship. Forget about the internship is integral to India. Na? So 4.5 years of MBBS, then you do 1 year of internship. If you cannot do the internship, how you will get MBBS degree itself? So that is why national exit exam is a mandatory examination nowadays. Those who cleared already internship, for them it is not mandatory. From 2022, anybody who is passing will be the national exit exam, and that is why you prepare USMLE now. You will be taking care of the national exit.
Thank you so much, sir. I guess that winds up our session. There were many personalized questions, but I guess we have run out of time. It's 8 o'clock already, half an hour later than we thought we'd finish. Thank you so much, panelists. This was such an eye-opener for all of us. It has definitely quenched our curiosity, and we are ready to chase our dreams. Thank you so much for guiding us to reach that dream. Thank you so much for your valuable time during this COVID crisis. I know there are clinic duties for everyone who is here. So thank you so much. The entire world is fighting, and we students are fighting a different battle. And thank you so much for helping us see through this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You can share our phone numbers and email to the students. If they want have any questions which are the pending, they can definitely personally check base with us. There's no problem. You can share with.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Tushar, sir.
Thank you very much. It's really nicely organized, and really thank you very much, Thiruviram sir. Really nice to get connected. We'll definitely talk.
Yeah, we will be in touch. It's a great experience from you for all the platforms. It's a pleasure to be connected with all you people. If you have any specific about oncology background, oncology interest, kindly contact me through the personal mail. Definitely, we will be touching.
Sir, we have our own oncology hospital in New Jersey.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so we'll definitely get connected. So
we should
oncology
hospital together for the multi-institute trials.
250 bedded hospital oncology in New Jersey.
Oh,
so it's a residential hospital also. So
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That was definitely a experience for us as well. So kindly inform us if you have any specific questions about any specific thing. I will be connected with Kiran. He could forward you to that. Okay.
Sure, sir. Thank you, Dr. Thiruviram, sir. Thank you, Dr. Tushar, sir. And thank you, Dr. Ocean, ma'am, and Dr. Rajamahendran, sir. This is Mrinalini signing off, and Kiran, again, I guess some internet problem, is also signing off along with me. Thank you so much.